Welcome to another month of community.
This month on Community, we're celebrating a lot of things. We're on the waterfront and we are in the community.
Hi, I'm Dick Gallagher.
And I'm Claudine Ewing. We are on the waterfront, but we are celebrating something that is really special. A one-of-a-kind, probably the first of its kind in the entire country.
The African American Veterans Monument that is going in right here at the Naval and Military Park. And the organizers are celebrating finally crossing the finish line after years of hard work.
It feels wonderful to see it come to fruition.
It's been a long time in coming. Proposed first in 2014 as a project to record the names of all deceased Western New York African American veterans. The monument project was finally introduced to the community in 2016. Then, as they were gaining some steam, COVID took the wind out of their sails. But now, for this group of board members, all of them veterans, and so many others, victory is finally on the doorstep.
This is an opportunity the Lord gave me to help create it, and help me see the end of it too. So I've been blessed 3 times.
And it's an amazing monument full of symbolism, a series of 12 pillars, 10 feet tall, 3 feet wide, placed in a chronological sequence corresponding to the dates of each of the country's 12 military conflicts. It traces where each conflict took place, and the spacing between the pillars represents the peace times between each war.
So the columns represents the wars and the light. During war times, many families put candles in the windows as their sons or daughters went off to war. And this, in fact, it represents that.
The biggest takeaway is that African Americans have fought for this country in every war since day one.
Not only are we honoring African Americans, but we want to educate the community.
Including the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, Civil War, Spanish-American War, the World Wars, Korean War, the Vietnam conflict, the Gulf War, and the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. This monument stands for every one of those veterans.
It's been quite challenging, but yet very rewarding.
Challenging on several levels, rallying support for the project, raising money, and even convincing people that the Naval and Military Park needed a monument dedicated specifically to African Americans, despite the presence of monuments dedicated to other ethnic groups.
We had to fight just to get down here. That was part of the struggle.
It's got to be frustrating. I know we're celebrating the fact that it's here, but it's got to be frustrating as well.
Well, it's not frustrating. It's understandable. We live in America. And America has racial problems today, same problems they had back in the 50s and the 40s. So that's the major issue.
Means a hell of a lot, excuse my French. I never thought I would ever see it happen. When I went in the Air Force, it was still segregated.
We've been in every single war, and in spite of the conditions that African Americans were living on, this racism, discrimination, whenever the call came out for volunteers and for soldiers, we answered the call.
And for some of these veterans, it also represents something greater than race. It represents a long overdue welcome home.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. We didn't get a ticker tape parade when I came home, so this is the start of my ticker tape parade.
The Colored Musicians Club held a groundbreaking for their $3 million expansion project. When it's all done, 2,000 square feet of space will be added to the building for new practice and performance areas, a lobby, ADA improvements like an elevator, and a more accessible main entrance. New York Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado was at the groundbreaking.
Legends like John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, Cab Calloway, all graced the club stage during their stops in Buffalo, once a major point on the U.S. Jazz circuit.
In case you didn't know, the Colored Musicians Club was founded in 1918. It is the only remaining African American musicians club of its kind in the entire country. The expansion project is expected to increase tourism and visitation to Buffalo's historic Michigan Street African American corridor.
You've likely heard of the popular bakery Cake Crazy in Cheektowaga. Well, now there is Crazy Good Eats on Main Street at the old Tony's Ranch House.
I've always loved Tony's Ranch House, the building, just the historical, the look of it.
When owner Shatise Jackson found out it was closing, she jumped on it. Customers who followed her path as a successful Black-owned business, they're here.
She doesn't set limits on herself. And there's no reason why she should. I can't think of a better business to occupy this space after that long history. I've seen her work. I've seen her cooking, the way she treats her family, her friends, and she loves the community.
You want to hold your cake? We specialize in house-made soups, salads, and sandwiches, and we're going to have 4 to 6 soups every day. They're all my recipes. We're going to also have seasonal specials where that's when I'm going to showcase my culinary skills.
Shatisa's passion for cooking started at a very young age. Now she has expanded her footprint on the local restaurant scene.
We were missing a restaurant like this. You know, a restaurant dedicated to soup and, scratch-made soup.
Good food attracts good people, and Buffalo has a history. Either your food is good or you don't last.
We're going to offer like different exotic fish and, duck.
She's bringing 25 years of culinary experience. Now to a first in news, specifically the Buffalo News.
I'm from Rochester, New York, and I went to college at Buffalo State where I received my degree in journalism in '90, and my dream was to work at my hometown paper, which was the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, and that's where I spent a large portion of my career doing almost everything in the newsroom that you can do.
The headline tells it all. Sheila Ram, executive editor of the Buffalo News, first black journalist to lead newsroom.
In my heart, I'm a print newspaper woman. The reality is the world has changed, readers have changed. So what we have to do is just tell great stories, right? Stories that help you navigate your life, stories that you can connect with. And once we tell those great stories, we will put them out there in the format that you're looking for them. For the people who want to use their phone like I do now, it'll be there. And for the people who want to read it in print, it will be there too. But we do have to adapt to the way readers have changed, and 8 out of 10 of today's readers get their news on a digital device. On day one of meeting the staff, I said that we are going to elevate voices. That means that we are going to include everyone in our coverage.
For that little girl who's watching, who says, "Mommy, she looks like me," what do you say to her?
You can do anything that you want to do. My father used to say to me, hard work pays off, and it does. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this great opportunity coming, and it happened after many years in this business. And it's because I've worked hard, but also because I've worked with great people. But at the end of the day, people want information that they can trust, that's accurate. And I'm just really excited to be here, and of course, go Bills.
Coming up, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
Welcome back to coMUNITY, and this month we are also celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're joined by Caz Rodriguez, the founder of the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York.
Thank you very much, Pete. Great to be here, and great to see you in our community. You're always here,
well,
you and Claudine. But you grew up here, so you're just coming back home.
That's right.
It's so nice to see that there's going to be development and improvements for the community that you love so much. Tell us what's going to be on this spot.
Well, Claudine, this corner here eventually is going to be the change agent to this whole corridor. Okay, we really feel that this is going to be the engine, the economic engine for this entire Niagara Street corridor, which is the Hispanic Heritage District, Avenida San Juan. And what better with a facility that's going to promote Hispanic heritage, history, and culture. It's long overdue for our community. Here we have a population in Buffalo of 45,000. Hispanics, 75,000 in Western New York.
People don't think of that.
Yeah. It's a first in upstate New York, and we're very proud that, private, public, government have really come forward to support this project.
How big will it be? How and when will we see ground broken and it open?
You know, we're still in our capital campaign. We've raised $13 million. You know, we're $12.5 million brick and mortar. However, even though we've raised that amount of money, okay, we still have to focus on the expenses as it relates to programming, operations, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and the endowment. You know, when we want to hand this off to the community, okay, because it's going to be a community center. It's for, you know, everyone to celebrate, even the new Americans. Right. Okay, we want to hand it off in a way that it's sustainable and it's here for a lifetime, for our future generation. And that's very important. It's going to be 33,000 square feet. And if I can go quickly through the footprint.
Go right ahead.
It's a museum, art gallery, a theater, an activities hall, okay, learning labs for the children, because we want our children to stay connected to their history, their heritage, and their culture. A media center for radio and TV production.
You're going to have us come in and help?
Absolutely, absolutely, you're going to be part of that. The media center, you know, the media center, we want to have radio and TV production and transmission, okay? And we want it to be an incubator for high school kids to get into journalism. Claudine and Peter, so I want to invite you two to be, you know, like mentors or coaches.
Count me in.
We're here for you.
And tell our young folks, look at, journalism is a good field to get into.
There you go.
So what better place to do it in a place where, you know, you celebrate so much rich history.
Yeah.
Caz, thank you so much for joining us on Community, and we look forward to coming back when this building is here.
Thank you.
But for now, like the giant that's on the other side of that building, it's about hitting singles, like Roberto Clemente used to do.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's a proud icon in our community.
Absolutely.
And all communities.
All right.
I believe that leadership is not something that is merely earned, but is a lifelong commitment.
Meet Alex Burgos.
We have so many young, brilliant Latinos here in Western New York, especially here in our West Side community.
He's 24.
Younger leadership is rising, and it's just really amazing to see so many of us rising into our positions of power and growing.
National Hispanic Heritage Month focuses on those who have a positive influence on the world.
We're a beautiful, rich, and diverse community, and without us, you know, the revitalization of Western New York would not be the same.
Burgos volunteers and plays a role in future development, like the building of the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Center.
Well, the Hispanic community is a continuously growing community here in Western New York. I see us, you know, having larger positions of leadership. I see us expanding, you know, into the culture and the arts. I see us playing prominent roles, you know, in the revitalization of, you know, Western New York all across the board.
He prides himself on being a LGBTQ+ person of color dedicated to advancing underserved communities through health, political, and voter advocacy. He's making sure his voice is heard.
Homophobia, racism, and transphobia are a cultural malignancy. They are a trifecta of a public health crisis that exacerbates the disparities that we face every single day.
He is vocal, causing all to take notice.
You know, I haven't seen this many Latino leaders, especially young people, rising up into positions of power in my entire life, and it's so beautiful to see.
A Niagara Falls elementary school has been renamed in honor of the first African-American woman to serve on the school board. Boniva Bond was a civil rights activist, a community leader, and a board member from 1979 until 1984. Niagara Street Elementary has been renamed as Dr. Boniva Bond Primary School. Dr. Bond died in 2004.
And it was her mission to make sure that all students were treated with that motto and slogan that we have, that's learning for all, whatever it takes. And she was a forerunner of that.
The designation of the Boniva Bond Primary School marks the first time the Niagara Falls Central School District has changed the name of a school in more than 50 years. Coming up.
Those kids that need backpacks, they're going to always be a friend of mine.
Don't let his play fool you. Stefan Diggs is all about giving back. And Carl Lamb sits down with the artistic director emeritus of the Buffalo Opera Unlimited. Community will be right back. There are school backpack giveaways. And then this sighting. Buffalo Bills wide receiver Stefan Diggs teamed up with the mayor for his first annual back-to-school backpack giveaway. It was on Jefferson Avenue in the Tops parking lot.
What is it really like to come back here and to stand on these grounds and do this for the kids in the community?
I feel at home, you know what I'm saying? I feel at home with my people. I feel at home. I feel safe. I don't have no issues. I told them that I don't need no police officers. I don't need none of that, just because, like, when you give it back and you're doing things the right way, you shouldn't have no problem.
Inner City, he says, is where he wants to be.
Coming back and bringing that love full circle is always more impactful. And then, you know, I guess some people say I call it the inner city. It's much more urban area. It's my people here. It's black people here. So I want them to see me. I want to be visible. I want them to touch me, take pictures with me, let them know that I'm here for them. I'm not all the way in, you know, Orchard Park all the time.
And yes, there were selfies galore with the kids.
And absolutely, when you saw the one little boy, he was doing the dance just like you. He wanted to get in it, and like you. Did you see yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I've been there. I mean, I wish I would have had some stuff like this growing up, you know what I'm saying? But my mom made it happen. I used to be in school. I used to have to get a backpack. My mom had to make some things happen. So my objective was to try to get things done and, you know, help people.
This is what Diggs told our Ashley Holder about his mom.
She was to me, I guess, from what I think I know, is a primary breadwinner. But she worked 2-3 jobs. She did everything that she could. So she always got my utmost respect and love, just because, you know, part of somebody being your mom is one, but her doing everything that she can to fight for like 4 or 5 kids, you know, that takes a soldier.
It's like a miracle, because he's one of my favorite Bills players, like Josh Allen and Andre Reed and people like that. I'm a big fan of him.
Get your ball signed.
Can we see it? He's one of my favorite players.
Me, it's been a blessing, because, you know, we got somebody famous who is in the NFL and stuff, and we get to see him for the first time.
300 kids received Jordan brand backpacks, school supplies, Nike gift certificates. The crowd was larger than expected, so he wants to return.
Like Denzel said, I'm going to leave with something.
I'm leaving here with something.
I like scoring touchdowns. I like making plays. That's a feeling as well. But this gives you another sense I'm human. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just a football player. I'm out here trying to make a difference, and I use my platform in the most effective way possible, and that's helping people. I want to thank God for putting me in the position I am, to being able to bless other people, pushing it forward.
It's not lost on him where he was standing and why he's giving back.
God told me that you need to come back here and do some more work. It's always about making a difference.
In August, Buffalo Bills tight end Dawson Knox had to deal with the tragic death of his brother Luke. The 22-year-old was a linebacker at Florida International. To show support for Knox, Bills fans raised money for PUNT, Pediatric Cancer Collaborative, in honor of Luke. It's a charity that Knox has been involved with since he became a member of the Bills. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
They raised over $200,000 for the PUNT Foundation in my brother's name, so it's just been an absolute blessing to see everybody from Buffalo show us love in that way. In the size, you know, the amount of support that I've had, just the sheer number of texts and messages, and even just the dollar amount of donations that have been made in my brother's name to the PUNT Foundation. It's more than I could have ever expected, but at the same time, it's weirdly not surprising, just because this is such an incredible city with such an incredible fan base and people. It really truly does feel like home. I know I've said that before, but I kind of realized that for the first time when I came back up here after everything, that it really does feel like a second home to me.
Now to a great friend of Two on Your Side who we miss so dearly, the late, great Dick Gallagher. He was well known for his high school sports coverage. He could recite player stats from way back when. He made a lasting impression on young athletes, and they admired him and respected him. His most important work, though, involved mentoring kids through kids escaping drugs. KED recently dedicated a sports park on its West Seneca campus in his name. It is now known as the Dick Gallagher Sports Park.
His first passion that I became acquainted with was his desire to want to reward the achievements of all those kids in high school sports. He came out with a newspaper, and that newspaper was so special. Kids were looking forward to it.
You know, this is a meshing of his two loves, the helping people going through drug treatment, and also his athletic prowess. And I don't know what his athletic prowess. He was a good writer.
A day does not go by that I don't think of you, Dick. And thank you for all you've done for me and anyone you came in contact with. You truly are a hero.
KED's sports park includes a basketball court, softball diamond, a field, and a pavilion. 3 of Gallagher's favorite words were passion, perseverance, and positive.
God has blessed me in my life. He's guided me, and this is overwhelming, and I just appreciate everything that you do.
Opera may not be the most common type of classical music that you have experienced. Perhaps it's the length of the show or that it's sung in a different language. Western New York has an active opera scene. Meet one of the pillars who's retiring after leading a company for 37 years.
For Tim Kennedy, it all started with the piano and being involved with the church in his hometown of Philadelphia. His father was superintendent of Sunday school, and being part of the church was a must. However, over time, he was able to deepen his love of music and really allowed it to flourish in high school through a discovery program.
We had free tickets for this discovery program. So I said, well, let me check this out. I don't remember my first opera. Everybody says, what's your first opera? I don't remember. Absolute catharsis. I went in there, I was taken. Pageantry, singing, acting, costumes, all of theater, absolutely fell in love with it.
After college, it was off to the dream of being an opera singer. Kennedy had opportunities to sing in Rome and sang with Porgy and Bess in the late 1980s. But being a musician, especially a classically trained opera singer, was not going to be easy. The odds are often stacked against you in needing to win the right auditions to fast-track your career. And as Kennedy continued, he got to a point and had a moment of self-reflection.
Maybe around 35, 36, I said, what do I do now? And then I wanted to continue with opera, and I said, well, maybe this is where I belong. So I started Buffalo Opera Unlimited. Our mission statement says that we only deal with local and regional singers.
Over time, the company grew, and they were able to change the way they put on shows by hiring a full orchestra, including costumes and much more. And over the last 20 years, Kennedy has been able to see his group take on more traditional operas at a grander scale, and more ambitious operas like Silent Night by Kevin Putz, a story about a short-lived battle from World War I, and Puccini's Madama Butterfly, the tragic love story that takes place in Japan of the early 1900s. So over the years, Kennedy's company has gone from small semi-stage productions to fully staged operas that captivate audiences through acting, music, and costumes. 37 years ago, if you told Kennedy this would be the company he's built with the support of his wife Ellen and his board of directors over the years, he had one simple answer.
Never. I mean, I was so involved in doing what it takes to put on a particular production. I never knew it would grow like this. It's amazing. I'm very happy about that.
So as he prepares to officially retire from the company he started, he'll take on the title of Artistic Director Emeritus and pass the reins on to the next person who will carry on this legacy of opera in Buffalo. But now for the most challenging question of how does Kennedy want to be remembered for his work?
If I can help them in that field, opera singers especially, because I know how difficult it is to have a career. If I can help, if I'm remembered for that, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
And to celebrate the remarkable accomplishments and career of Tim Kennedy, a celebration will be held on Friday, October 7th at the Lafayette Hotel at 7 p.m. Tickets are available for the event, and we'll have a link where you can purchase them in this story on WGRZ.com.
As always, so much to celebrate here in Western New York, right here on commUNITY.
And we love bringing you these stories, whether it's sports, whether it's music, or celebrating some new things happening here on the waterfront.
We'll see you next month
on commUNITY.